Oh, cool. That is much better. It's funny. It's kind of grainy when you first get on with the preview, but then once it's on, oh, nice picture. Oh man, and we're hoping that this one technology doesn't decide to try to block us from sharing the message and from continuing the message, which is also continuing the blessing. So thank you for getting on board. And here's our first person. Hey, Holly, what's happening? Hey, Silent Hero, good to see you. Yep, we're going to be on in less than 3 minutes. I don't know if you knew, but yesterday technology messed us up and wouldn't let me repost this. So even this message will be now on the repost of the repost. But you know, that's part of the deal, is that you have to keep persevering. And if your message is sincere and authentic, then it doesn't matter. You know, and so likewise, not just your message, but your life. But anyway, hey Holly, how's everything going? How's the family? You just do a thumbs up if you don't want to type fast or whatever. Yeah. All right. And then also yesterday was so funny because I had turned off my speakers by accident, and not so much by accident, but by the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. Remember, I'm tech functional, not literate. So I was trying to do something and trying to, troubleshoot and find out what was going on with the broadcast. I ended up turning my speakers off. Hey, Holly, you back? How's the family? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know everybody's good. All right. Anyway, we got less than 2 minutes, and we're going to do our broadcast today on the decision to win. Making it an actual decision. Wow. This is good. Meanwhile, we've got a wonderful, how many degrees they're here in Charlotte today? I don't normally check the weather, but I know people have been having weather issues. So we're looking at 80s. We're looking at the 80s here in Charlotte today. And going as high as 86 before it cools down into the 70s tonight. Cool. So I hope your weather is going well wherever you are on today. And that's on today whether you're listening live or video. We have now less than a minute to start. Hey Tabitha, welcome. Again, really enjoyed you at the AATH conference. Good job. Before we start, because I want to be going kind of fast once we get moving here. Ooh. Okay. I don't know what that. I got a text message that I wasn't clear about, but you never know. I do check them. I don't always respond. All right. We've got less than a minute, probably 20 seconds. There's a thumbs up. Glad to see you. Oh, 12 o'clock. Let's roll. Hey, look, welcome to Glue Wednesday on Thursday, all right? It's the remix. And I don't mind saying it because I think it's important for us to always recognize that, things are not going to go super smooth. That's what life is all about. That's why the session is even called, and it's not just called it, but something I believe in, and it's the decision to win, is that we have to make a decision that we're going to be successful. See, winning is personal, W-I-N, what I need. Winning is personal. So you got to find ways to get your personal win. That's going to make you an important piece of every puzzle in your life, because life is about going from one puzzle to the next. We're either a small, medium, or large piece of the puzzle. But no matter what size you see yourself as in the puzzle, without you, that puzzle is called incomplete. And see, so right now, for instance, we're in the Facebook Live puzzle. You may be in the YouTube video puzzle. You're going to be in your work puzzle, your traffic puzzle, your family. See, so we go through a lot of puzzles in our lives, and we are either the smallest, the medium, or the largest piece of the puzzle. But we need to make sure that we're taking care of our piece of the puzzle. So when we think about winning, the truth is that winning comes in retrospect to establish winning in each moment. So winning is in retrospect to establish winning in each moment. Once you look back and give yourself credit for how you won, you start to see why you're a winner. And in the process of doing that, you'll continue that winning spirit, and that means that you're winning in the moment. So I'm going to go kind of fast because I had a wonderful experience to connect to this topic and session. And the decision to win was actually a speech that I had created based on, in 1996, I competed in Toastmasters International World Championship of Public Speaking. And I managed to make it all the way to the top of the World Championship and finish as one of the top 9 speakers in the world. Now, to get to the World Championship, whether or not you're familiar with Toastmasters, you have to win at your club, your area, your division, your district, region, and at the time there were 9 regions in the world, and then you compete at the World Championship. They've reconfigured it now, so I don't think it's not considered 9 regions. But either way, that's the way they used to do it. And when I was competing, so the decision to win speech is actually the story about my journey to the World Championship, and really focuses on the fact that when I was competing at the regional level, one before going to the World Championship, and combining that with the district level, okay? Now, here's what happened at the regional level. I met a guy, my good friend, I got to give him a shout out, Michael Brundy. Michael Brundy has become a dear friend of mine, and we were what I call competing champions. I think once you get to that level in the speech competition, you're no longer competing with one another. I call it a speaker showcase. Because the higher you go up, you start to find that the competition becomes between you and yourself. Can I be better than I was last time? And the truth is, whenever you are better than you were the last time, you should only compete against yourself. And when you're better than the last time you were the last time, you should be unbeatable. Anybody who can beat you when you're at your best, well, guess what? That means they've made it to their best. That's the only way you're going to beat me, is to be your very best. And in fact, I had a chance, another shout out to Kimmy Taylor. She was in, she's the daughter, one of my adopted nieces, and she was in Charlotte. She ran track for U of I, University of Illinois, and she's on the relay team. And so I went out to watch her, and that's what I said to her. I said, Kimmy, the most important thing is run your best race. I said, if you run your best race, you can't be beat. You can't worry about looking at who's in lane 1 and who's got a reputation for what they do in lane 3. You in the track and field business, they don't really compete against the same people over and over. So the focus has to be on themselves. And likewise, I think that's the truth about us in our real life. The focus has to be on you. What makes you a winner? Can you live your life on offense and recognize that you make some great conscious decisions, and you've made a lot more conscious, wonderful decisions to make yourself a winner than you have bad ones. So that's the thing, is always compete against yourself or compete with yourself. So at the district level, I was competing with my good friend now, Michael Brundy. So he was a district champion. And the thing is that he ended up saying to me, when we competed, that was in August of 1996, when we competed, we competed in June of 1996, and then the speech contest was in, the World Championship was in August. But it was in December that Michael and I was in St. Louis visiting on a business trip, and we had hooked up and we were hanging out, and I tell you, he was great. He got me a speaking engagement at a Toastmasters club that he didn't even belong to. He got us tickets. We went to see the Nutcracker Suite. Again, we just became great friends. And so what he said to me, though, as we were going back and forth, he said, "You know what, Sporty?" Because he was one of the district champions that I competed with in June. He said, and there were 8 of us at the time, and he said, "Sporty, me and the other 6 champions, the other 6 district champions, were excited about being in the district conference final. You came to win it." And when he said that, we both laughed, because I said, that's true. Yeah, I had made the decision to win, and that was the title that he helped me come up with. I had made the decision to win, and I carried myself as if I was already the winner. And so that's why it was a smooth sail. And in fact, what it goes on to talk about is how my nephew, who I'm so proud of, Tyvon Sands, he had come to spend a week with me before the contest, and in June, and I spent so much time practicing on him that he almost knew the speech as he sat in the audience. But let me tell you something. While he sat in that audience, there were times where his heartbeat was the only sound I heard in a room of 500 people while I'm on stage. His heartbeat was the only sound I heard. And so what I've done is learn to categorize that type of person. Have you ever felt that way about someone? That I categorize that as your anchor of support. And your anchors of support are people, they change according to where you are in your life. These are the people that mean so much to you that's why you go out on the limb. Which is also why one of the things you always hear me say is choose your messengers carefully. Because you will follow someone. And the key is that make sure, do your best to follow the people that carry the value that are most important to you. Because when the rubber hits the road, when you hit that wall, you have to make sure that you know where you were going. So you can know whether, do I need to try to go through this wall? Do I need to try to climb over this wall? Or do I need to just change directions and walk around the wall? That's usually our options that we have when we come up against a tough time. Do we want to barrel our way through? Do we want to be smooth and get over? Or do we just need to chill out and take another direction, left or right, and go around the wall and go around the challenge? And that's what winning is all about. So what I did is I broke winning down into 5 letters and made it an acronym. And because what I realized is that when I was at the speech contest championship in August, I'm sitting there in the front, and the contest is on Saturday morning. But I got a flash back to Friday night, because Friday night, that same nephew that I talked about, Tyvon, he was 15 at the time. Also, my niece, Vilori Thornton, she was 10 at the time, and my mother, Leah, give her a shout out, or shout up as I say, since she's been gone now for 10 years, a shout up, okay? But those 3 coming to the contest to see me win. And on the Friday night before the contest, there was a mad rainstorm, and their flight got rerouted to Minneapolis. The contest was in St. Louis. So they got rerouted to Minneapolis, and there was no assurance that I was going to be able to have them in the audience to see me win on Saturday. So actually, as I sat there on Saturday morning, my focus was not on the speech contest. I didn't know this right away, but my focus was on whether or not my mother, my niece, and my nephew were okay. That was really the only thing that mattered to me. And see, the way I found that, because I have to fast forward, at the end of the contest, what they do, they make a video of the whole contest, and each contestant gets a copy of the video. And at the end of the contest, after you speak, you get a chance to give a shout out to the people that were supporting you, let them know where your club is and all that kind of stuff. And when they gave me the video and I watched it, what I saw is that when I got my chance to say who I wanted to give a shout out to, I said this to the audience, 2,000 people in the auditorium. I said, look, I don't even know if the people that I wanted to be here the most made it. And then I cracked totally unprofessionally. I said, are y'all? I said my mother, my niece, and my nephew, their flight got rerouted last night. Are y'all here? And they shouted from the back room, we're here. Everybody went wild and started cheering for me. But when I did that on the video, my shoulders, I saw my shoulders do this. I didn't realize how tense I was, worrying about them. I thought I was fine. I thought I handled stress very well. But when I said, are y'all here? And they said yes, I saw my shoulders go down and me release. And that's what helped me recognize that winning was not about me having the best vocal variety, the best gestures, not even the best speech that day. Winning to me was about being whole. See, I wasn't whole because there was a part of my family, my maternal family in this case, that was missing. My Toastmasters family was there. People, members and people from my district and my region and all of them, and they gave me a whole bunch of love. But I recognized that my whole family wasn't there. To win, you have to be whole. You know, and because when you're whole, that's when your passion, your message comes out the best, because you don't have any problem going on that are biting at you. And if you think about it, if you look at the times that you've been in, that you've gone through in your life, the tough times that you came out a winner, it was because you were, well, when you came out a winner, it's because you took care of something that was missing. You found a way to compensate for it. You found a way to feel good about yourself and not get caught up on what you lost and what you didn't have. And you focus on what you do have, and you focus on being whole. So that's what I'm going to do, is break down the word whole for you and show you how that contributes to winning. And then I'm going to show you how I actually used it in my life yesterday, speaking to a 5th grade class. First of all, the W. The W in whole stands for willing to sacrifice. Willing to sacrifice. See, you're going to have to give up something to win. You know, we always hear that, so you got to give something to give something to get something. I've got what I call sportyism number 1, and that is give. Sooner or later, you'll catch up to what you've received. See, we have to give first so that we can receive. My mother always said, a closed fist gets nothing. You have to open your hand so that you can receive your gift and your blessing. So what are you willing to give up so that you can be a winner? Is it your habits, your hobbies, your habitats? You're going to have to let some people go. You're going to have to let some things go that you used to do. But you've got to be willing to sacrifice in order to win. Then, meanwhile, speaking tip, when I do the session, I have my PowerPoint, and I always set up my PowerPoint presentation so that my slides talk to me. So on my willing to sacrifice screen, I have a picture of me with about 15 soldiers from the Army when I spoke at an Army base in Natick, Massachusetts. And so I've got them on it because when I think of willing to sacrifice, I think about my military family. And so seeing them on my screen helps me reconnect with the concept of willing to sacrifice, because they're giving their life for their country. They are sacrificing themselves for our safety. And I always want to thank them and bless them. And especially if you're watching this during this week of May 14th, this Saturday, May 20th, is Armed Forces Day. And Armed Forces Day is actually the culmination of last Saturday, which began Armed Forces Week. And I want to tell you the difference. I posted it on my site, but there's a difference in how we celebrate our military, the main 3 holidays on the calendar. Armed Forces Week starts the 2nd Saturday of every May. And Armed Forces Day is the 3rd Saturday of every May. Memorial Day, and those, by the way, those celebrate those who are currently serving. Memorial Day is the last Monday of every May, and that celebrates and memorializes those who lost their lives serving. And then Veterans Day is November 11th of every year, and that celebrates those who did serve but are still living. And the beauty of Veterans Day, by the way, it's November 11th, but it had a lot of 11s going there. I did some research on it. It happened is on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, an armistice between Germany and the Allied nations came into effect. So that was 11/11/19, and Armistice Day was commemorated for the first time on November 11th, 1919. And they even tried to have it where they had parades and meetings and suspension of business at 11 o'clock. So they did everything with 11. So make your celebrations thematic as possible. But again, I posted on my site the differences between Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, because it's nice that we want to celebrate our veterans, but sometimes we mistitle the celebration, and in a way I don't want to slap anybody's wrist that it's disrespectful, but you want to be able to thank somebody and be sincere, knowing what you're thanking them for. And that'll mean so much more to our military members than anything else. So please, find out as much as you can about that. So again, to win, you have to be willing to sacrifice. because you have to get your personal need. W-I-N, what I need. Okay, the H. H stands for here. H-E-R-E. You just have to get some rest. You know, when you want to be whole, you got some rest. And you got to let go of the bills and the rent and the school and the job. You got to let stuff go so that you can be here and in the moment. Because the two most important things that you have to let go of, the past and the future. You have no control over what has happened in the past, and you have no control of what will happen in the future. You have an impact of what will happen in the future, but you have no control over it. So if we're living our lives on offense, that's one of the things that we're doing, is pushing to have some impact over what's going to happen in our future. But make sure you get some rest. And in terms of that past, look at your track record, not your lack record. I'm not saying that we have to totally forget the past, but how we use it is important. To win, you have to use your past. Use the positive things and the positive lessons in your past instead of looking back and saying, oh, whoa, it's me. No, look back and say, wow, it's me that I'm now here based on who I thought I was, because at the time, that's who I thought I was. The things that you used to do, you believe that that's who you are, and that's why you did them. So, again, give yourself credit. And as you're thinking about being in the present, the here and now, think about your legacy. Think about living on offense, being conscious, making conscientious choices. Live on offense rather than exist through defense. See, when we live on offense, we are proud of the conscious choices we make, because you know me, I'm not into regret. So one of the things that you can do to see that you're living on offense and you're working on your legacy, ask yourself today, who have you or will you help today? Who have you or will you help today? That's how you know that you're contributing to your legacy. The most important thing is on that list, you have to be on that list. You have to be on the top of that list. You have to help yourself. And you can't help anybody else until you help yourself, until you take care of you. And that's mentally, physically, spiritually. And you can't help anybody who doesn't want your help. So again, a lot of it is about us living a conscious life, and recognize we're going to have some bumps and bruises, but then give ourselves credit for the way we took the bumps and bruises and kept on going. Okay? So willing to sacrifice, here in the moment, and then the O is for on. Just be on top of your game. Like I said, I'm not into regret. I did a couple of posts the other day. One said, if you do something when you can, you don't have to feel bad about what you don't do when you can't. See, it's not about regret. And the corresponding post I did for that was, when we make the decision to do or be, our commitment lasts longer. So once you decide what you're going to do, you're more committed to it. Once you decide who you're going to be, you're more committed to it. Are you giving yourself credit? Are you patting yourself on the back? You make a lot of good decisions. So be on top of your game. When you're on top of your game, what you do is you learn that you only compete with yourself by focusing on the basics and the fundamentals to get better than you were last time. If you, every time I speak, I'm trying to do better than I did the last time. Every time you wake up, you can be a better parent. You can be a better student. You can be a better employee. You can be a better brother, sister, family, friend. We can always be better, but we don't have to beat ourselves up when we don't make that mark. So be on top of the game. The L should be kind of obvious, but I throw it in anyway. It's for love. To be whole, you have to be willing to sacrifice here in the moment, on top of your game, and you have to love yourself. And loving yourself, a lot of times people don't actually have that much of a problem with their loving themselves. But you know where we have a problem? Liking ourselves. Sometimes we don't like ourselves. And you can see words are powerful. You never say, oh, I don't love me, but you said, I don't like the way I look in that outfit. I don't like how I acted. I don't like how I handled that situation. You told yourself that you didn't like you. Start telling yourself how much you do like you, because you already love yourself. But like yourself even more. Once you like yourself, then you have a package that you can give someone else toward being in love. One of the things that I always say, have signs in your house on your walls. Not just pictures, but signs that you can read about what you believe. Most of my signs are actually behind this computer screen because they're on my wall in front of where I'm working. But I've got some other ones I'm going to point out in a second. But in my bathroom, for instance, I've got a sign over the mirror that says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're beautiful. See, so I tell myself that every morning and every time I go to the the bathroom, wash my hands, brush my teeth, whatever, I've got a sign telling me I'm beautiful. And so when somebody else says, oh, Sporty, you look great, I like that outfit, I'm like, yeah, check. Another person who agrees is something that I already know. And don't think that you don't do the same thing, because don't you look in the mirror and check how your hair looks, make sure that your outfit is just fine. See, all of that stuff is self-love and self-like. That we think, well, I just do that because I got to do it. No, bulletin, you do it because you love yourself and you like yourself. Go on and give yourself credit. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be humble to man. Your humility is to God. And he has put you here for you to shine. That's why also when you love yourself, you feel really good about who you are. When I've been in my speaking business 23 years now. When I started my business, I used to say, I want to be the Muhammad Ali of motivational speaking. I'm going to be the greatest. You know what I found out? I found out that Muhammad Ali was the sporty king of boxing. So who's the you of their industry? See, put you first. You are the greatest. You are there is no one who does a better job of being you than you do. So you have to be the greatest at being you. So yeah, I'm never going to be the Muhammad Ali or the greatest at anything else. I'm always going to see the sporty kings of that industry. And I encourage you to get your personal win and see who's the you in their industry when they're on the top. And lastly, there's the E. The E is for empathy. Because, we don't necessarily walk in one another's shoes. You can't put yourself in someone else's place. And I don't say that I know what you've been through, but I tell you this, I've been in your row. I may not have been in your shoes and in your seat, but I've been in your row. Because all of us have something that we have overcome. We've dealt with something. And what's tough to one person may seem easy to another person, and vice versa. So I'm not looking to top your tragedy with mine. And you can't trump mine. You can't knock mine down. So, well, that's really nothing. Look what I went through. You don't know how big that thing was for me. And likewise, I don't know how big it was for you. So why don't we just respect that all of us are going through something, have been through something. In fact, I got a book called Stuff Happens. And stuff is TUFF. Situations that unleash our focus and faith. Situations that unleash our focus and faith. When these things happen, for instance, and my book is partially based on, hey Jeanette, it's partially based on when my mother died. I didn't think I could get over that. It's been 10 years now. But I was able to handle that. One of the things I call it occupational hazard, because I was the one in the room with her when she took her last breath. And instead of me freaking out and go, oh, what's the matter, I had to say to myself, I said, you know what? I'm the only one in the family that could have handled this. God chose me to be in that spot, because me and my sister had just switched out watches an hour ago. She would have lost her mind. I don't even mind her hearing me say that. But I had to sit there and I had to say, this is God saying to me, Sporty, I need you to be the one to handle this situation, because now you have to go tell your family. I have to relive it more than anybody else. But what I also did was, at the time, I was 52 years old. My youngest brother was 36. So instead of me, I felt bad, but instead of me saying, oh man, my mother's dead, I had to say to myself, you know what? I had a mother for 52 years. My youngest brother was 36. What was he going through? What would I have gone through if my mother had died when I was 36? See, so I had another, 18 years? Math is wrong. It's probably 16. I don't know what the math is. But that's what I had to do. So go back, and again, when you're in that here and now, go in your past and look for the blessings. See, because everybody's got to know someone that died at birth, at 1, at 5, at 10. Everybody's lost someone, but we've all managed to come back. And that's the key that we have to do. So make sure that your E is for empathy, and feel other people's pain by understand other people's pain by feeling your own. And E is also for excellence. Excellence is a great goal toward winning. Perfection is not going to get you there. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes purpose. And practice can lead you to excellence. I think that practice makes purpose is a cliche that we use to set ourselves up for failure. Because the goal really becomes not to make perfect, because we always end up saying, well, nobody's perfect, but God. See, so the goal was to please somebody else by having them look how far you got. Why not just make this the goal? Why not make getting here the goal instead of getting to perfection, so that you can celebrate yourself every single chance you get, not based on a man-made calendar. Keep finding ways to celebrate yourself, and that's what's going to make you whole. That's what's going to make you a winner. And so the story that as I look through those steps, you don't necessarily go through them in order, but one of the blessings in my life is one of the things that I've done is I've adopted a 5th grade class at an elementary school here in Charlotte. See, that's the willing to sacrifice. I give them one Wednesday, the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and I just go in and talk to the kids. And and I got the time to tell you what I talk about, but that's the willing to sacrifice. Give up your time in the process and being there in the moment. What I did with them yesterday, I would have talked to them about team and about focus. And so our team was the San Antonio Spurs. Well, we got smacked on Tuesday night by 36 points. I purposely wore, I still do have on, this time I have on gray, but I wore my team colors. I had on my black shirt and the white pants and the gray. And I said to them, my team just lost terribly, but I will never hide the fact of who I support. And so I still wore my team colors because my team, they're still recognizable. You've got that same situation. Who's your team? Who do you represent? Are you ashamed of who you represent technically, which is being ashamed of who you are? So I'm always proud to wear my colors. In fact, this one says Harlem, as you can see. That's my birthplace. But that's what it's all about, is always be willing to wear your colors and be who you are. That's what's going to make you a winner. And that's what winning is. Like I said, winning is personal and what I need. But winning, once you take care of your needs, you take care of the team's needs. Because as each person on the team understands their personal win, they put together a dynasty. So you could be a part of every single dynasty in your job, in your team, in your family, and with your friends. Do your part. Be who you are, and they will be a successful winning team. Then I had them talk to me about their trip. They had just taken a trip to D.C. They had just come back. And so I had them tell me about their trip. We don't spend enough time listening to our kids. We want to talk about how the future's in such horrible shape, and these kids, the damn kids of today, are related to the damn kids of yesterday. Children mock and mirror adults. If you're the adult that they mock and mirror, you shouldn't have a problem with it. So listen to what they say. See, I was on top of my game. I allowed them to tell me about how they were feeling, about how they felt about Washington. And also, tend to love, the L in whole. One of the things I did is this was going to be my last month with them, so I had collected and gave everybody a pen, and that pen says Hope Delivered. Hope Delivered, which is a pen that I got from when I did a session with my military, with my Air Force out in New Orleans, and they let me collect and take enough to give each one of my kids one to tell them that they had hope and to be focused on who they are. And then each one of them got an origami crane, and if you're familiar with origami, go look it up. But see, it folds out to being it looks like a swan. That's a weed, but it's called a crane. And in Japanese culture, you can look this up. In Japanese culture, this is a very special bird, and there's a story behind it about a young girl who, when they dropped the atom bomb in Hiroshima, Japan, she survived it, but 10 years later she was diagnosed with leukemia based on the radiation. But she thought about a saying that her grandfather told her, that if you fold up 1,000 origami pieces of paper into the crane, you get your wish. And so that's what she began doing. She folded up 1,000, and then she started on her second 1,000. But she died when she was at 656. So what ended up happening is her classmates ended up doing the other 334. So that at her funeral, they had 1,000 origami cranes around her so that she can get her wish and her body and her spirit would go in the right place. See, people celebrate one another. Again, that's the love about it all. And I've been working on how I'm going to do it, because I talk about signs on the wall. Well, let me see right there. It's actually a letter. One of the kids at my 5th grade class, this Dorothea, as I was walking out, she had written a handmade thank you card. And on the front, she wrote, "Thank you, Mr. Sporty, for everything." And on the inside, she wrote again, "Thank you for everything, and thank you for caring." And see, this is a fifth grader who was doing this in the moment. So please believe in our kids. The future's in great hands. They just need to have that right guidance, and we need to take some time to listen to them. I didn't tell her to write that, and for her to write, "Thank you for caring," to me, that's the big part. Thank you, we expect. Thank you for caring. A little fifth grader who I may never see, because that, with them being in the fifth grade and elementary school, now they graduate. So I won't get to see them. I don't know where they're going for their sixth grade. They get separated again. And so that's the blessing. And so, again, that's what's going to make you a winner, is being hope. Because imagine how she blessed my life. And I've got other cards, and whenever kids give me something, I put it on my wall, and I got some on this wall, so I got them all over my apartment. And that's the key, is keep finding ways to push stuff into yourself, because you are such a blessing and you make a difference. But we sometimes lose focus by focusing on the people who help us see the difference that we don't make. And we lose sight of just how important and valuable we are. You're valuable. You're an important piece of the puzzle. Thank you for being a part of my puzzle. Today, again, I feel like a winner, because you have also welcomed me into your computer screen, into your homes, into your offices, into your life and your spirit. That's what makes me feel like a winner. That's what makes me feel whole. I know what makes you feel whole too, because I know that one of the things people say, "Well, you don't know how much you bless me." I say, "Yes, I do, because God sent me to be a blessing. I didn't know it was you." You see, so that's the key. I'm glad to find out it's you, and I'm always going to be there for you. And I appreciate you being there for me. Next week, we'll have another Glue Wednesday, and if you don't know, glue is Glue. God's love undoes everything. Not that God's love separates things, but anything that's bothering you, His love will glue it back together and take it off your hands, because He'll undo the pain and the pressure and the stress, which sometimes we sign up for, then it's not really there. So keep being a winner. Make the decision to win again and again. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Okay? I'm going to stay on for a quick minute and do some shout-outs to people, but otherwise, y'all can hang out. Hey, Lenny, thank you. I appreciate you. Grasshopper, all right, Jerome. Oh, all right, Kenny, you know what I'm talking about with the Spurs. We'll be back on Saturday night. Okay, thank you, Jeanette. Love you. Hey, LaWanda. Good to see you again. Kevin, good. Welcome back. All right, good to see. Oh, it didn't stop scrolling down. And Sony, I got you there from earlier. All right, y'all. I'm gonna sit now for the technology challenge. I'm gonna see if it lets me post it, because that's what's been happening. But I think I got this thing figured out. So remember, I'm tech functional, not literate. See you soon. Over and out. Ciao.